Class begins. Bow to your senses. All right. Welcome to Scissor Sweep the Leg, Johnny. I'm Johnny. Johnny Lawrence. Cobra Kai, Johnny Lawrence, sir. All right. This class is about scissor sweeps. And some of you probably know some scissor sweeps. Might be one of the first sweeps that you learn. And yes, in and of itself, it's simple. And sometimes people dismiss simple techniques as you get better because, oh, it doesn't work against better people. Well, it does. Especially when you add in other aspects of it, combinations, left side, right side, depending on what the partner does. And this class really meshes exactly with the collar and sleeve class that I'm going to teach tomorrow. And I'll show you kind of a little bit of a preview of some of that, how it intersects, because everything starts with the same grips. This is stuff that I actually use every time I roll. This isn't some seminar fluff just to get oohs and ahs and stuff like that. This is really exactly what I play, and I'm happy to show it to you guys here today. So thank you for coming. I'll use the executioner here. Okay, so the first thing we're going to start off with, hopefully I don't split this thing open. I already feel it's up my ass a little bit. Sorry. There you go. The first thing that I'm going to do is just a basic kneeling opponent. Let's just start. He's on his knees, basic sort of scissor sweep. Okay, a couple of things that I like to do when I do the scissor sweep. One, when I grip, you're the gimp, you mind me. I like to have my fist about right where the collarbone is, okay? If I'm higher, there's a lot of slack in it right here, right? If I'm here on the collarbone, I have lots of connection to him. This push and pull is important for not only the scissor sweep, for some other subsequent techniques that we're going to be doing. All right? So the first scissor sweep, the way I like to do it, I like to get what they call a shovel grip. I'm about right here. I like to be on my elbow. Now this is a bit dependent on body type. If you have shorter arms, you got wider body. Me, I like it here because if it's here, we can do this pulling match. You're like, no, I want it. No, you, me, no, right? But if I'm here, it's anchored. It's right in my hip. I can really hold him strongly, all right? So we're here, hand about right where the collarbone is. I got this right here in the pocket. You can also grab it here if this is how you learned it and you like it. If you like this grip here on the thing, also okay. This is a bit of a preference thing. I like this for some other reasons, but okay. So this leg is gonna go to the floor. We're gonna slightly pull him up, and now we're scissoring. When we scissor sweep, a lot of people just go. This is not the way to do it. We're here, I wanna pull myself towards him. Because the closer I am to the center line, the easier it is for me to be able to come on top. If I stay far away, I might initiate a scramble situation, and I don't want to lose the sweep, okay? So I'm here, I pull myself in. This is super critical. Foot is in the hip, this pulls me on top, okay? Not this sort of thing, yeah. I want to be here. When I pull him in, I'm close, and I pull on top. I already have my hand in, I can start attacking, that's another class. So again, we're here, I got a neutral grip. I like it here, flat on the floor, flat. We're blocking this leg so he can't post out. If he does, that's some other stuff we're gonna go into later. So we're here, maybe a bit of a pull. One thing I will mention, when it comes to the scissor sweep, I like my knee about like a 45-degree angle. I don't want it too high that he can start coming inside me. I don't want it too low that he smashes me. I like it here. And I always have this, you see this connection? I'm making a wall. This is kind of a standard half guard sort of thing. Guys are playing this knee shield sort of game. We're here. I have good frame. If he pushes into me, I have lots of defense. A little bit of a pull. Sweep. And I'm on top. Does everybody understand that, or do they need to see it again, or? Good? And on three?
Yes,
it's going to be Cobra Kai. You got it? I'm not going to count it because I think you guys can count. Cobra Kai! Okay. So one thing, we had a couple of you all back there that asked me, if you're super close to them sometimes, especially if you have longer legs. I tend to have slightly longer legs for maybe people my size, so if I'm super close, sometimes it'd be hard for me to load them up. I might take an extra step back, that way I can pull them more. Now you see, so if he's back here on his butt, it's harder. As soon as I get him here, that's all I need. I don't have to move them, like load them up really on top of him. It's just enough, okay? So that distance will change a bit. There are, of course, some variations to it. Some people really like to look to pull the arm. These things are kind of preference. I wouldn't say there's one way. People do these a little bit differently. This is the way that works for me, and I really like it. You're going to make it your own and see what works best for you. But in a general sense, it works the way I just showed you. All right. Now, a common defense that people do, that it happened naturally to somebody back over there, is if I am trying this, sometimes people will, that knee opens up wide. Just stay on your knees, but open your knee. Yeah, like this happens, right? And you go, oh. Well, nothing changes. You can still sweep them just the same. I'm gonna push this knee out and come to the top. So if they do that defense, this thing's really slippery. A little weird. A little weird. I feel like a gimp. So if I'm going to do this and he flares his leg out, all you're gonna do is push on the inside of the knee. Now, one thing you're not gonna do is you're not gonna push him straight back. You have to push out at an angle. So you kind of use your foot like a little monkey grip or whatever around the knee. In slow motion, it's like this. I'll show you one more time. Let's turn around slightly. So I'm going here, and he opens it up, and you just push, and coming to the top. Does that make sense, everybody? You want to give it a shot? Remember, we got to yell, right? You guys got to get a little tougher if you're going to be in Cobra Kai. That was weak. Weakness does not exist in this dojo. Is everybody understanding? I know you probably have seen this stuff before, but this second one especially is money in the bank. It really, really works well. One thing that you might have to do sometime with that one is if like you're trying this one, if their knee is close to you, excuse me, like you're trying to do it, maybe opens it up a little wide here, and you're kind of jammed up, it's okay to just move out a little bit to redo it. Some of you guys are trying to do it, and I saw you, like, you don't have to do that. So just, I mean, you have a thing here, you can just move your hip slightly. I'm posting here on his hip, and I'm just shrimping out, and now I can go back into it, okay? So just keep that in mind. You sometimes have to reset slightly. I have longer legs, so I can't get in there. Maybe you have shorter, and it's easier depending on where they are. But if you need to move out, shrimp slightly to do that one, it's perfectly fine. Now the next one, and somebody asked this over here, well, what happens if they put their foot up? They're gonna get swept. That's what happened. They're still getting it, you know? Doesn't matter. So we're here, we're doing all this, and he just goes in the combat base right here. He goes in the combat base right here, okay? If he's still kind of facing forward, I just put him right over the top. Doesn't matter. You can just go back to the first one. All right? So we're here. He scissor sweeps, and he's sitting like this. Not a problem at all. Now, what you have to be mindful of, the only thing I would say you have to be mindful of here is if you have a weak grip here, and he puts his knee up there, and you go to do this, and then he puts his knee down and goes over you. Now you've lost it, right? So if you come back up, you need to make sure that you're strong. So if he tries to put his knee down, he can't. He can't, right? But you understand that point? You don't want him, this is gonna be quick anyway. You're not gonna be hanging out like this. But you're gonna be here, and it comes up, and it comes right up to the sweep. Grips, everything's the same. So I'm going to show you two variations off of that. So that's one way. So we're going to practice that if they're just using combat base, and then you can just simply go over. Now, sometimes you get the situation where the guy is kind of, he's really pulls away from you a little bit. Watch this. Remember Christian was talking about nobody just falls over. Sweeps don't happen like this. This one does. I've done this so many times. You're sitting there, somebody gets down in a super low combat base, they sit back, and they're like, yeah, you're not going to sweep me. Sure, buddy. It's that easy. It happens more than you think, believe me. Might be the easiest sweep in the world. So we're going to try these two variations. We're going to start off, he just comes up in the combat base, and we just sweep normally. And we're going to do the one where he comes up, and he sits back. I can feel him pulling me when he sits back. If I let him go, he almost falls back a little on his own. It's that stupid. You can like, it works out like that, honestly. So, does anybody want to see those two again? Do you understand? Do you want to see it at all? One more time?
But do you finish the sweep coming on top if the knee is in between? You can't
Yeah, if the knee's in the between, that goes into some different passing situations, of course, which I'm not going to cover too much. Of course, if the knee is inside, then maybe, I'm here. Maybe I start trying to go over the top of the knee. If he's completely inside, then maybe I back step out of it. So it does create an additional passing obstacle that you don't get with the first two. But you're on top, you just scored 2 points, and you're in control. So passes, it kind of depends on his reaction as well. Most people aren't just going to sit there and be like that. He's going to try to come back out or something. But you have good grips, so you can control him. It's not going to be easy for him to get up. Passes are going to vary. Any other questions on that? Does everybody understand? So we're going to do the same one to the side, just like the very first one. And then if he sits back, we're going to push. Now, sometimes these can get even extra violent because if he posts up, you can really, he's heavy, but you can get him off the ground a lot with this one because you have leverage with this. So sometimes you can really, he's quite a bit bigger than me, but if somebody more your size, you can really whip them pretty well through these. So be careful with each other. Give it a shot. Okay, I'm going to count it out this time because you guys are bad at it, all right? So it's going to be 1, 2, and you know the rest, right? 1, 2, go! Okay. A couple of things that came up with a couple of you here. Some of you were saying, maybe it's hard to push him up. Do I have to, when he puts the foot up and he sits really far back, can I put my hand up and do that? It's not wrong, but I like to keep everything. If I'm pulling and he really sits back and I can keep it all, it's going to make my attack options and things better once I come on top. Also, if I'm pulling him, it's hard for him to put his own hands and things up on the mat to try to push himself up. If I let go, let's say I let go of this to push my hand and I sweep him, I do like this, he might put his hand down. Yeah, he might grab me. So it creates other opportunities. I'm not saying it's wrong all the time because sometimes in jiu-jitsu, it turns into spaghetti. So try to keep it if you can. And if you generally are pulling him pretty good where he's putting a lot of backward pressure, that will be able to pull you. And when you're like this, it's harder to defend. He can lean forward and stop the sweep. So try to keep it. That's a much better variation in my opinion. Another thing that happened to one of these groups back here, they said, well, what if he puts his leg up and I go to sweep and then he kind of puts his knee back down? Yeah, comes back inside like this. No problem. I can go back to the first one. I can go back to the second one. So you have other options, right? It's not always, well, that one didn't work. I stop. When you start doing these a lot, I'm like machine gunning them. Boom, 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 boom. The first one, it doesn't work. He moves his knee out. The second one. You might have to cycle through them a couple times, 3 times. You might get the first one. But he is playing defense at this point, right? You're firing at him. And he can't really fire back because he's too busy dodging bullets. So I just want you guys to understand that. It's always not 1, back. It's 1, 2, 3, 1, 1. I mean, depending on his reaction. And you have to drill these sequences and spend a lot of time in this particular situation. A lot of people are always looking for that magic technique that all of a sudden makes them better. Now, once in a while, you can add something that is super innate to you and it works really, really well. But most people get good from time, drilling, different situations, different training partners. And you have to put the time in, even on simple things. So, we're here. The party goes on. He's doing all these things. He's defending. I can't get this. Maybe he really leans to this side. Now, he knows that I'm going to try to maybe do that to him, right? I'm going to turn my hip, and I'm going to kick this knee on the opposite side. And he might end up just like this. That happens a lot, and then I can come up on top. That's a very simplified way. It doesn't usually happen that much. Sometimes, I'll just show you. So I'm here. He puts it up. I can't do it, and he's really leaning to that way. Sometimes I even do it right on his leg. I just kind of pivot. I'm onto my right hip, and I kick. So y'all can see. Remember that second sweep where we kick the leg out? We're doing the same thing the other side, and we're kind of dragging, like a collar drag. And we might end up like this. We start passing how Mario showed, or some Nate Adams. Adamson does a lot of like Lovato leg weave style passing. We're into that position, but we're on top. We just scored. However he lands doesn't really matter for this class, but I just want you to see we have options both sides. And I'm not showing, one thing I want to mention here, everything that I'm showing in this class is basically sweeps. It's all sweeps and variations off the scissor sweep. Tomorrow, I like I said, I had a collar and sleeve, and there'll be some actual attacks, submissions and things like that. All of those things are still in play, even now. So while all of this scissor stuff is going on, everything, we still have omoplatas, triangles, depending situation, different arm locks. All of these things are always in play, but I'm just showing you sweep. So it's not just what I'm showing you. All of these things link together. All of them are options. But I'm just showing you the sweep side today. So, okay, for one more time before we go. We're here. He leans. I turn. You guys see there's an easy omoplata already right here. But we're just doing this. You're gonna pass. You might pass that way. We're gonna pass this way. It doesn't matter. But we swept him. Does everybody understand that? Do you want to see it again? Good? Good? Good to over here? Good to these guys on the phones eating the bananas? Good? All right. 1, 2. Mercy is for the weak. Daniel LaRusso is a punk. Daniel LaRusso is the real punk of Karate Kid. He came to my town, tried to pick up my girl. He's the troublemaker. A couple of things that I probably should have clarified. So if I'm here and he really leans to this side, Alex is kind of a big guy. He's longer. Now if he's more open and I can put my foot on the hip to turn myself over, that might even be better because then I have maybe better other attack opportunities. But if I'm looking to do it fast because I really want to, people are not going to just hang out. He sees me moving over here to attack. He might put his other leg up or put his knees back on the ground or something is going to happen. Yeah, different things are going to happen. So when I'm here, all I need is an anchor of some kind. It could be that. Well, that's maybe not the best because of these stupid tights, but it might be just like this, and I'm here. Now, let's turn around. Some of these guys ask me back there, well, if I turn here, well, he might grab my leg and start like pushing it or something. We are not hanging out here. We are turning and we are going like we mean it. We're not turning and just going. I'm collar dragging him like I want to pull his shoulders out of socket, right? I'm pulling hard. I probably should have shown it like that. When we do the collar drag, we really snap them. And it can be kind of brutal. Guys will, on the mat a lot. But we're looking for effectiveness. So I'm coming here. I'm here on the thing, I'm pushing, and I'm pulling hard. And another thing that happens is he may put his hands on the mat. Okay, come back up. Because these other guys ask me, well, his hands can be on the mat if I pull him. Where am I now? I'm on the back. His knees are up a little bit, but we can come up and start taking the back. So nothing is lost. I already got his arm behind him. Another thing that happens sometimes that I want you to be mindful of is people will want to grab your collar. So when you go to switch, sometimes you have this. Well, look where we are. We're Omoplata City. I've did this before and went belly down arm locks on people. Not everything is lost just because people give you roadblocks. At lower levels, people they don't know how to react. But once you start doing it on better people, there are reactions that you start seeing more often. But it never ends. We only had an hour, so we're just tiptoeing into the world here. Tomorrow with the collar and sleeve guard, we're going to be showing it from maybe different levels. Because now everything we've done is basically assuming that he's on his knees or on one knee, right? But when he stands, so let's say we're here, all these things, let's say I'm giving him hell and he's like, crap, I need to get out of here. He stands up. Well, this is where the collar and sleeve class takes over tomorrow. Is in the same situation. I have the same grips. I'm not going to be scissor sweeping because obviously he's standing, but now we move into other attack options once he's vertical on his feet. Okay? One thing I wanted to cover, somebody asked one last question and we'll wrap it up. Now, if we're here sweeping, let's say he puts his leg like really wide, like really like this. Yeah, sometimes you get this sort of thing. Look, you can step on the knee and keep turning. You just have to turn a lot to do it. And almost every time I do it to somebody, because I push so hard, I end up cramping my calf when I do it like in sparring. So if somebody sticks their leg out, all you have to do is block it. And you keep turning. You just have to turn more to sweep. So that is also another option. Any questions so far? Well, we're done, but any questions about anything we covered at all? You guys understand it? Did you learn anything, or am I an idiot? Well, I am an idiot, but maybe hopefully you learned something as well. So I just want to thank you guys again for coming. If you have any questions, please, I'll be at the open mat tomorrow. And my collar and sleeve guard class is right after lunch, and we're going to cover this stuff from standing. And it's more submission oriented at this point tomorrow. So thanks again, guys. I appreciate it. Have a great night. Enjoy your dinner, and we'll enjoy the rest of the camp.